All right, guys. So let's talk about irony once again. Because, guys, in this life, in this world, I think that everything happens for a reason, right? That's just my personal opinion, right? I don't think that very many things are simply random. I'm not saying that no things are random, but I think that generally speaking, things happen for a reason, right? The universe, God, whatever deity you might believe in, whatever, right? Maybe it's trying to tell you when something is not right? They're trying to send you a message, okay? They're trying to change your mind on something. I do believe that happens, right? I really do, okay? For various reasons. And situations like this really make me believe that is true, okay? As a defund the police Democrat, a member of Congress was carjacked and robbed at gunpoint in Philadelphia, right? So I just want to understand, this person sponsored a bill to basically replace police officers with mental health workers, right? Which basically is a proponent of what defund the police is. And she ended up being carjacked and robbed at gunpoint by criminals, right? Again, you can't make this stuff up, okay? Just like you can't make up the fact that all these other cities across the country that have embraced aspects of defund the police are also suffering historic and records amount of violent crime going on right now. Again, I think it's happening for a reason. Cause and effect, okay? I really do. So we're gonna talk about this, but first, I gotta interrupt this video because literally as of editing this video, I just read another article about another Democrat who got carjacked at gunpoint in Chicago, right? And this is Illinois State Senator Kimberly Lightford, okay? So this is within 24 hours of each other. 24 hours. Two Democrats got carjacked at gunpoint, okay? But yeah, I literally just saw that as I was editing it. So I want to throw that in this video so that you guys understood that happened as well. I'll throw that story in the link in the description. But back to this story right here. Let's just go ahead and roll the news clip.
Pennsylvania Congresswoman is the latest crime victim in Philadelphia. Representative Mary Gay Scanlon was walking to her car in broad daylight when two armed men approached her with a gun and demanded her keys. Scanlon's car has since been located, and police are questioning multiple people this morning. Action News reporter Corey Davis is live at FDR Park in South Philadelphia with the very latest. Good morning, Corey.
Matt, good morning. So right now we know that 5 people are in custody down in Delaware after Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon's SUV was stolen here from FDR Park in South Philadelphia yesterday. It's unclear at the moment exactly how those 5 people are possibly involved with all of this. But I want to give you a look at some video and walk you through this. You're looking at the SUV there from Chopper 6 HD. We're being told Delaware State Police pulled over that Acura MDX last night around 9 in the parking lot of the Christiana Fashion Center in Newark, Delaware, which is near the Christiana Mall. Police had a good description of the vehicle almost immediately after the incident happened. We were told that Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon and her staffer were carjacked at gunpoint in broad daylight just before 3 o'clock yesterday here at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. They were just wrapping up a tour when it happened. Scanlon and her staff member were not injured, but were being told that the suspects stole her government-issued cell phone and ID, keys, as well as that SUV. The Congresswoman represents the 5th Congressional District, which includes part of South Philadelphia. FDR Park is within City Councilman Kenyatta Johnson's district, and he says these carjackings are happening at all times of day and that anyone is falling victim.
Right now in the city of Philadelphia, people feel like there's a sense of lawlessness. You know, at the end of the day, you see carjackings taking place during this holiday season. You see people being robbed with their Rolexes. So at the end of the day, we have to figure out a way on how do we get a hold on the senseless violence and
that as of December 2nd, there have been at least 685 reported carjackings this year. In 2020, the city had 410 carjackings compared to 225 in 2019. In a statement, in part of a statement from Mayor Jim Kenney, he wrote, quote, "Everyone deserves to feel safe in our city, and sadly, as we know, that hasn't always been the case this year." The district attorney's data is showing that of the nearly 700 carjackings so far in Philadelphia, there have been roughly 90 arrests so far. When it comes to this latest case concerning the Congresswoman, we are still working to find out exactly if any of the people in custody have been charged in this case. We'll definitely keep you up to date. But for now, reporting live here in South Philadelphia, Corey Davis, Channel 6 Action News.
Again, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Now, I feel bad for this Congresswoman that she got carjacked and robbed at gunpoint. And I'm glad that she's safe and sound. Okay, I'm glad that she's safe and sound. But this is kind of what you sign up for when you are a promoter of policies that make your cities and neighborhoods generally less safe, right? That's just kind of what happens. Okay, you're not immune from being a victim of crime, right? You're not, especially as just, a regular old run-of-the-mill congressman. Okay, you just a random person to some of these guys because they don't even know who you are, right? They have no idea who you are. They just think you just some regular lady. Okay, you just a walking lick to them. So, hey, at the end of the day, I'm glad that she's safe. But, hopefully this makes her think twice before she advocates for policies that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But let's read here. On Wednesday afternoon, U.S. Representative Mary Gay Scanlon, who represents Pennsylvania's 5th District, was carjacked and robbed at gunpoint in South Philadelphia in broad daylight. Scanlon, alongside other elected officials, had met to discuss concerns regarding development plans for FDR Park. She reportedly was accompanied by another member of her staff, but the two drove separately. Lauren Cox, spokesperson for Scanlon, told the Philadelphia Inquirer. Scanlon walked back to her car alone on the 1900 block of Patterson Avenue when she was approached by two armed men at around 2:45 p.m. Cox said that the two men demanded she hand her car keys and personal belongings over. According to the Inquirer, Scanlon handed over her belongings, including personal cell phone, federal government cell phone, and personal ID, and the two men drove away in her 2017 Acura MDX. Again, this is a old lady, right? In an Acura, right? 2017 Acura, getting robbed in broad daylight, okay? At gunpoint. Again, she was a walking lick for some of these criminals. I'm surprised she didn't have private security because that's what all the other defunded police Democrats have, okay? They're smart enough to hire private security while pushing policies that make their communities less safe, right? And I'm surprised this Democrat wasn't smart enough to do that. You might want to get on board with that, right? If you're going to be pushing defunded police, you might want to hire your own private security. I'm just saying, that's what AOC and Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar and all these other people do. You might want to get on that jam. She's physically okay, but her vehicle and possessions are gone, Cox told the Inquirer. Scanlon sponsored the Mental Health Justice Act, which advocated to replace first responders with mental health experts. 125 Democrats sponsored the bill. Per the bill's text, it was meant to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to states and political subdivisions of states to hire, employ, train, and dispatch mental health professionals to respond in lieu of law enforcement officers in emergencies involving one or more persons with a mental illness or an intellectual or developmental disability, and for other purposes. Okay, so so she basically co-sponsored a bill that is a part of the whole defund the police movement, right? Which is the idea of sending mental health workers instead of law enforcement to respond to emergencies that involve mental illness, okay? Again, this is just another example of these Democrats living in a fantasy world where, for whatever reason, they think that people with mental health issues can simply be talked out of, I don't know, stabbing somebody, shooting somebody, committing some type of violent crime, because you have some woman with some type of psychology degree or something like that and some mental health training show up to the scene, right? Probably unarmed, okay? Probably having no training on how to handle these violent criminals. You think that one of those people showing up, you think that that's actually the best thing to do? You think that's actually what's going to keep people safe? You think that these people can simply just be talked out of some of the things they're doing, right? You don't think you need to use force? Again, these people are not living in the real world. And I guarantee you a lot of these Democrats that sponsor this stuff, They haven't ever done a police ride along. They don't know any police officers. They haven't actually talked to anybody who's actually had a real experience of being out there and dealing with these people, right? They're dealing with people that simply are not good people. A lot of the time, they're just not good people, right? And you have to deal with those people with force, with the threat of force. A lot of times you can't just talk these people out of some of the things they're doing. You got to have the threat of force, okay? So again, these people are living in cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, la la world. The bill was introduced in February 2021, and Skyline was one of the original sponsors. In a statement, sponsors of the bill said, "We should be connecting people in crisis to care, not tossing them in jail. Mental illness is not a crime, and we have to stop treating it like one. Most police officers are not trained to care for individuals experiencing mental health crises, which too often tragically leads to unnecessary violence," according to Fox News. Yeah, so here's the thing. What these defunded police people advocate for is literally the exact opposite of what action should be done, right? They say, well, police officers aren't trained well enough. They aren't equipped well enough. Okay, you know what? Fine. If I agree with you on that, well, is the solution to defund them so that they're trained even less? Or is the solution to, I don't know, maybe try to train them more in being able to deal with mental health crises, right? Maybe you should actually pay them more. Okay, because what they really want is for these police officers to be super soldiers, right? They want to be able to deal with violent crime, but they also want them to be able to deal with mental health crises, right? So if you want officers to be able to do that, right? If you want super soldiers out there, then hey, you got to put some money behind that. Okay, you got to put some money behind that. I'm just saying, because it sounds like that's what they want police officers to be, right? They don't want them to be trigger happy. They wanted to sweet talk people out of committing crimes. Okay, they wanted to do all types of things that really a lot of these police officers don't get paid enough to do. Skyline thanks the Philadelphia Police Department for their swift response and appreciates the efforts of both the Sergeant at Arms in DC and her local police department for coordinating with Philly PD to ensure her continued safety. She continued. Yeah, good. Maybe she'll think twice before proposing some stupid legislation like this. Okay, so I think that's basically all we need to really read about this. We just saw that basically they have 5 suspects in custody that committed this crime. So yeah, I mean, listen, again, it's always bad when people get, you know, robbed at gunpoint and they're victims of crimes like this. However, you know, like I said, you know, these Democrats, man, things happen for a reason. Okay, I mean, I understand that her sponsoring that legislation didn't directly affect what happened here to her, but at the same time, it's like when you sponsor legislation like this, you got to understand there are consequences, right? And the consequences are that, you know, you're going to have an increase in crime, right? You're going to embolden criminals because they know that a lot of these police departments, they're tied up, right? Their resources are tied up. Their funding is being cut. And what people got to understand about the whole defund the police movement is that the rhetoric from the top trickles down into policies that happen at the local level. Okay, in which you do have some of these progressive prosecutors enacting some of these progressive criminal justice reform initiatives. Okay, you have police departments because there's pressure from the mayor, the city council, to have less officers on the street, to cut their resources. Things like that happen because you have high-level politicians like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush out here pushing this and putting pressure on these city councils to do this type of stuff, right? And these city councils are filled with progressives, okay? Because they're in liberal cities, right? They're filled with progressives. So what happens is that even though this legislation didn't pass in Congress, okay, it's the fact that when you support stuff like this in rhetoric, okay, and when you push this out there, you put pressure on local municipalities to enact these things, okay? That's what the defund the police movement is. That's what it is, right? So I think people got to realize that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that emboldens criminals, okay? It makes it so they understand that, all right, the police department, they're tied up, okay? There's a lot of pressure on them because, you know, the general public doesn't really like them all that much. So now it's kind of free game for us, right? We're going to rob this old lady in this Acura in broad daylight. We don't care who she is, okay? Ended up being a congresswoman. Again, it's a damn shame. But again, I hope that, you know, an experience like this helps her reevaluate her position on this issue because she is on the wrong side of it. We simply cannot replace police officers with mental health workers, right? We can't do that. It won't work. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.